Hello, my name is Leslie Cornwell and I'm with the George Snow Scholarship Fund. The point of this recording is to help familiarize yourself with the Door of Opportunity Scholarship and the application. We're going to go through a little bit about what the requirements are to be eligible for the scholarship. Then we're going to go through a little bit of the application so that you can learn the do's and don'ts. Along the way, I'll suggest that you take screenshots of something, whether it's my contact information or the website, so that you can access the application. Along the way, if you have any questions, you should jot them down and then get in touch with me so that I can go ahead and answer any questions that you have. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. These are just the pictures of some of the DOO students. This is a scholarship that you definitely want to apply for. It is funded by Esler Companies, and George Snow Scholarship administrates the scholarship. So you will be dealing with my office throughout the application process, and hopefully once you receive the scholarship. We provide funding to students who have a financial need. Last year, we awarded 65 students, and the scholarship amount is $12,500. And this scholarship funding is over 4 years. So you would not be receiving the $12,500 your freshman year, the same amount your sophomore year, and so on. So let's talk a little bit about eligibility. So you have to be a high school senior, you have to be attending a high school in a qualifying region, and those regions are anywhere that Esler Company does business. So there are several different states that qualify. If you have any questions of whether or not you qualify, please reach out to me and I can help you with that. There is no GPA, minimum GPA requirement, no test score requirement. The only eligibility that we have for the scholarships is that there is financial need. Now, financial need does not necessarily mean that you are receiving federal aid. You don't even have to be eligible to file a FAFSA application. If for some reason your citizenship prevents you from doing that, that's okay. I don't have an income limit that your parents can't make beyond. We look at the whole totality of the scholarship application in determining financial need. So you should not, if you're thinking, oh, I couldn't possibly get the scholarship, my GPA isn't the best, nobody's going to be interested in awarding this to me, that couldn't be further from the truth. Students receive the scholarship that have very high GPA, and students receive the scholarship who do not. So you should not think that you are not eligible for the scholarship. Why should you apply for this one? Well, to begin with, these are 4-year scholarships, and let me make it very clear. You can go to school wherever you want to go to. It doesn't matter if you are going into a vocational program or a 2-year college or a 4-year university. It doesn't matter if the school is in your state or out of state. It doesn't matter if it's public or private. As long as the program is accredited, then that is absolutely fine with us. Let's say you start school at one school and it's not a good fit for you and you have to switch to a different school. That's absolutely okay. The money does not belong to the school, it belongs to you. And so forever, whatever the length is of your program that you start next year, the funding will apply for that duration. You don't have to reapply for this scholarship. Your scholarship award would be divided. A typical 4-year college student, they would be getting what we call a disbursement. We would be splitting up your $12,500 award into a payment every semester. But we work with students to make sure that they're getting the best use out of their scholarship funds. So maybe your tuition is being covered. Maybe you need funding for a college dorm or a meal plan, or maybe you're living off campus and you need rent, you need books. There's a lot of different ways that we can help you with this funding. And like I said, this is throughout your program, your undergraduate program. You can be studying anything you want to study. It doesn't matter what your major is going to be. If you're undecided, that doesn't matter. That's very normal for a 17, 18-year-old individual to not be sure what they want to study. that doesn't make a difference in you getting the scholarship, nor does the school that you're going to. So I want you to take a screenshot or just save this page because it has a lot of information on it. It has the application date. So it opened up November 1st. It closes February 1st at 11:59 Eastern time. So I don't know where you are in your state and the time difference, and you should be aware of that because it's going to close according to my time here in Florida at 11:59. Once the server closes, and if you've not submitted your application, you will not be eligible to get this scholarship. The QR code, if you scan that, it's going to take you right to the application, or if you want to get it from the website, you can see that's also listed on here, www.scholarship.org/DOO. And if you see with the DOO throughout, that's for Door of Opportunity. So you can complete this application at your own pace. I don't know when you're watching this video, but Thanksgiving holiday is coming up and there's the Christmas holiday coming up. So you definitely have some time when you're not in school to work on this. You can save the application and come back to it at any point. It has several different sections. When you first sign up, you'll need to have an email. Please make sure it's an email that you check regularly because that's where we're going to send all of our notifications. So after the application phase, then you move on to interview. That's where we would be sending notification of you getting an interview. That's where we're going to send notification of you getting a scholarship. So please make sure that you are checking your emails. This is what the application contains. Oops, let me go back a little bit. So there are 2 required essays, and I'll show you those in a moment. There is a place for you to put down work experience, school activities, community service, awards and honors. You are going to have 2 required reference letters. Then the whole last section of the application are questions about your family's finances and taxes. You are not uploading a tax return. You are not uploading any kind of FAFSA application or student aid report. I don't need to see that at this point. I will say that the way that this application process works is there are over 100 Esler company employees that make up the selection committee, and they are going to read and review your application. Your application will be scored 5 times by 5 different people. The lowest score will be dropped, and the average of those 4 remaining scores is your application score. And that's what determines if you make it to the next round, which are the interviews. If you do not get an interview, that's the end of the road. You will not be considered for scholarship. So you really want that application score to be as high as possible. And this application it's like a college application. Obviously, you're trying to get this selection committee to understand who you are. They are looking at you to see, are you a good investment for Esler companies? So you want to give them the best picture of yourself, the most authentic picture of yourself. Don't try to be something that you're not. Don't feel like you need to put a major down that sounds impressive, but it doesn't really show who you are as an individual. It's just those kind of things that you want to be cognizant of. And so when you're in the application, you'll come to this page and you'll see College 1, College 2, College 3. You don't have to put 3 colleges down. Only the first line is required. And again, this doesn't have to be a 4-year university. It could be a vocational program, but you do have to be going somewhere next year. It's fine if you're not starting until spring of 2024, but if you are planning on taking a gap year, then you are not eligible. If you are planning on joining the military and going to school, way down the road, then you are not eligible. You need to be going into a program no later than spring of 2024. So you have to list 1. If you're applying to more than 1 school, then you can list up to 3. We're not going to hold you to any of these. It doesn't matter if you list 3 colleges or 3 programs and you end up going to a completely different one. That's absolutely fine. The point here is that you want to show motivation, your intention that you are going to be doing a program next year. You'll see where it says application status, and it's a drop-down menu, and you have a variety of choices. You should only put in applied, accepted, waitlist. You should not put in not yet applied. Again, it's this whole good investment question. I will get a lot of applications that will have college 1 not yet applied, college 2 not yet applied, college 3 not yet applied. However, what are you saying to the people who are reviewing your application? This application closes February 1st. The selection committee is going to get your applications February 10th. They have no idea when you have filled out this application. So for all they know, as of February, you still have not planned on applying to schools, or you've not applied to any schools. And that's just not going to help your application score. You definitely don't want to be in that situation. So there's no rush to submit this application right now. So you definitely want to make sure that you have applied to the schools that you are listing. They don't expect that you've been accepted into any of the schools yet, so you don't need to worry about that. Now, anticipated major or area of study. Again, I told you, you don't have to have a chosen major yet. If you do, great. If you want to list a couple of different things, great. But it's also fine for you to put undecided if you don't know what you want to study. That's not going to hurt your chances in getting the scholarship. Then you're going to come to sections where work experience is the first thing. So you do not have to have any work experience. If you do, you can list up to 2 jobs that you've had. Then you're going to move into school activities, community service, and awards and honors. In those 3 sections, you can list up to 10 in each section. You don't have to have any, but if you have had anything, if you've done anything in the last 4 years, think outside the box. I know COVID has been an issue while you've been in high school, but again, this is your opportunity to give the selection committee a little bit of background info on you. So for the sections, it'll have whatever the activity was, or the award, what year. So if this is something you did freshman through senior, just senior year, and keep in mind, if COVID interrupted, if you were involved in something and then COVID put a halt to it, don't just assume they know that. So put that in, put that in there. Then it'll have position and description. So if you were in a club, were you a member? Did you have a leadership role? Was it band, chorus? Anything that you have been involved in the last 4 years. And the description, I would really take the time. This doesn't need to be an essay, but show something that distinguishes yourself. Even if you were a member of a club, what did you do in your participation? Don't just say I was a member of student government. That doesn't tell them anything. Tell them more specifically, what did you do in those roles? Same thing for community service. And awards and honors, that does not just need to be academic awards, that can be anything. Maybe you have received some kind of certification while you've been in school, or an athletic award, or honor roll, something off campus. Maybe you've been nominated for something that it hasn't been decided. Anything, again, think outside the box, anything that you can think of that would add something to the application, then you should definitely put that in. And now we're at the essay prompts. Both of them have a 200-word count minimum, which is only 2 paragraphs, which is not a lot. And if somebody were to say to me, well, I didn't want to do this application because I had to write 2 essays. If somebody told me that I had a chance to get $12,500 and I needed money for school, this would not be a deterrent to me. If you need the money, then you should not let this be a factor why you don't submit. They're not expecting you to be a world-class writer. If English is your second language, that is definitely something they're going to take into consideration. The first essay is educational and career goals. What do you think you want to study next year? What do you think you want to do when you get out of school? The second essay is a personal characteristics essay. You can really write anything you want to that will add to the selection committee getting to know you better. Have you been going through, or have you gone through a challenge? Do you have an accomplishment you want to write about? an experience that taught you a lesson, anything like that. If you have written either of these essays for a college application, feel free to copy and paste. As long as somebody's read this, you need to be careful. This goes to the whole investment thing. If they think that you've taken no time with this application and that it wasn't important to you, then that's going to be reflected in your application score. So you definitely want to make sure you're taking your time with these essays so that they are going to understand that this was an important application to you. Reference letters, as I said, those two of them are required. You can also upload an optional third if you want. The first one needs to be from a teacher. The second one can be from teacher, a counselor, somebody, staff administration, somebody in the community, a boss, your pastor, family friend, anybody that you want to ask other than no friends and no family members. And what we usually find is that the teachers or the guidance counselor may not want to give you the letter to upload in your application. That's absolutely fine. You will give them my email address or the person that works with me, Shannon Elwood. And as you can see on the screen, that is our email address. I would take a screenshot of that. And you can give them the email address. They can send them to us. And then on February 2nd, when the application closes and you no longer have access to it, then we will upload those reference letters. The whole third or the whole last section of the application is financial questions. You guys are not going to know the answers to most of these. You're going to need help from a parent or guardian. There's going to be a mother section, a father section, and then a step-parent section if that applies. If you don't have a relationship with them, there's going to be a place for you to mark that, and then you don't have to provide their information. There is a comment box, so if there's something you want to tell us about your situation, the selection committee doesn't see any of this financial part, but that would be where you would write that in so that we could read that. And then there's going to be questions on their assets, like do they own their house? Do they rent their house? What are their assets? What are their debts? And then some questions straight from a tax return that you will have to fill in this application. If you have any questions, that's when you should reach out to Shannon or myself, because we can help walk you through this part. Again, this is not a reason not to submit the application. We've had every situation come at us with students. Their parents don't file taxes, they don't live with their parents, or they just don't understand the tax return that their parents gave them. We can help you. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us. So what is the timeline? Once the application closes on the 1st and the selection committee gets them on February 10th, they will have them for 4 weeks. On March 30th, you will get an email. It's going to be one of 3 emails. Either 1, you are getting an interview. It's going to be very detailed email because there's going to be papers you have to sign and return to us, documents you have to return to us, which would include tax return if you have that. It would be financial aid awards from your school, if you've received those, things like that. You might also get an email that says you are on the waiting list, and we maintain a list of 40 to 50 people on the wait list. You also need to send in this paperwork, and you should, because last year, most of the people off the wait list were contacted about going on to receiving an interview. Or you may get the email I hate sending, which says you're not getting an interview, and that means that is the end of the road for you, unfortunately. Then tentatively, the date is set for May 2nd for interviews. These are Zoom interviews because our interviewers are in all different states, as I am from you. So you would sign up for a time to have the virtual interview. You would be given all this information. And then on March 16th or 17th, we will be sending out an email to let you know whether or not you have received the scholarship. That will also be a very detailed email. And then we haven't set a date, but there will be a date in June where we have a virtual orientation that will be mandatory. Your donor will be on at the very beginning of the orientation, and we will go over, important things like how do you receive your scholarship funds and things like that. So that's also very important. And so in conclusion, I hope that you guys apply. Whatever school you're attending, there's no limit on how many students can get the scholarship from that school. The only thing keeping you from consideration is you not submitting an application. So I really encourage you to apply. And if you have any questions along the way, please reach out to either Shannon or myself, and we'll be happy to help you. Good luck.